signs. Pull me deep into your lines. Something in the way you move.
Good evening to you, amazing people. Good evening to you, wonderful listeners. This is the Life Finding Me podcast. Today, the 6th episode of the 3rd season of the Life Finding Me podcast. I'll be talking on the topic, understanding love expressions, the key to lasting love. Remember, I'm still your anchor and host, Anthony Abel, and with me, we're going to explore love expressions. We're going to get a deeper understanding of what love expressions are and how they preserve the love we have in our relationships. So, it's still the Life Finding Me podcast. We're going to go on a short break. We'll be back to continue the discussion of the day. So stay tuned. It's the Life Finding Me podcast.
Adulthood na scam. The very famous Nigerian phrase that summarizes most Nigerian adult experience navigating through life. Hello and welcome to the Life Finding Me podcast, where we dive deep into the beautiful and ever-evolving journey called life. And on this space, we'll be sharing reflections, stories, and lessons drawn from different stages of life, from different backgrounds and experiences. We all see life from different lenses, shaped by where we've been, what we've faced, and how we've grown. From the quiet victories to the loud challenges, the unexpected turns, and the moments that really count, we'll be here to talk about it. Are you ready for honest conversations, thoughtful insights, and maybe a little inspiration? Remember, I am no expertise on this, but as a fellow sojourner, I'll be here to talk about my bits and pieces along with other persons who would share their stories with us. Let us take this journey together, one story, one heartbeat, one thought at a time. Hello, and welcome to the Life Finding Me podcast.
Welcome back to the show. It's the Life Finding Me podcast. I remain your anchor and host, Anthony Abel. And today, just like I said earlier, we'll be looking at the topic, the theme of today's episode, understanding love expressions, the key to lasting love. Understanding love expressions, the key to a lasting love. I'll first of all start by what is love expression. Love expressions are actually a wide range of verbal or non-verbal ways to show affection towards your loved one, who can be either your child or your sibling or your spouse or your nephew or your friend. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be an acquaintance, it could be anybody, it could be your crush. So, love expressions actually are just non-verbal and verbal ways of expressing love towards someone, towards the beloved, towards one's lover. It could stem from the commonly stated 3-letter word or 3-letter sentence rather, I love you, to even deeper expressions. So love expressions basically are means through which we show love, means through which we express our love towards someone. For us to really understand love expressions, we'll have to first of all understand the dynamics of love expressions. We're going to understand the dynamics of love and how the love we have or how the relationships we have are actually products of our expressions of love, are actually products of the 3 elements of love. So according to Robert Sternberg, who is an American psychologist, according to Robert Sternberg. He gave this theory, the triangular theory of love. So this theory posits that love comprises of three elements, three integral elements. The first one is intimacy, the second one, passion, and the third one, commitment. So these three components combine in different ways to form various types of love relationships. The theory uses actually a triangle to illustrate how these components, how they interact and contribute to different kinds of love, different kinds of relationships as well. But before we look at how they interact, let's explore the three elements, which are intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy actually refers to feelings of connectedness, emotional closeness, warmth, and attachment which one feels towards another in a relationship, or which exists in a relationship between two people. I want to use two persons for clearer understanding of love. So it's between one person and another, not between a group. Now I want to reduce that, narrow it down to love between one person and another, not love between one person and a group, or a group and one person. So now going to passion. Passion, on the other hand, encompasses romantic and physical attraction, sexual desire, and excitement in a relationship or between two persons in a relationship. While on the other hand, commitment involves the decision to love someone and the firm resolve to maintain and preserve the love that exists between you and the other person, or that exists in the relationship even through difficult times. Now we'll see how these elements interact and how they form different types of relationships. So we have different types of love. From my research, I found that there are 7 kinds of love. There's liking, there's infatuation, there's empty love, there's romantic love, there's companionate love, there's fatuous love, and there is consummate love. Now, infatuation, which is a kind of love that it's kind of on the lowest scale of love. It's characterized by high passion, only passion, but no intimacy and no commitment. You can now get to understand when someone says he's infatuated or she's infatuated. You can now understand what that means. And then the second, which is liking, which is characterized by high intimacy but low passion and commitment. It goes on and on. Empty love, which is characterized by commitment but low passion and intimacy. The pure example of this empty love is a relationship between two persons wherein one person is committed to the relationship but the other person is not committed, or might actually be committed but there is no passion, there is nothing to look forward to, there is no passion, there is no intimacy, it's just commitment. So there is no thrills, nothing but just commitment. It could also be between a father and a child, when the father just feels all he owes the child is responsibility to cater for the child and nothing more but that. So he's committed to the child, but there's no show of passion, there's no intimacy, no closeness, no attachment, nothing but just commitment. And then romantic love, which is characterized by high intimacy and passion, but low on commitment. Then we have companionate love, which is characterized by high intimacy and commitment, but low passion. This is a kind of love that more or less exists between friends. Yes, between friends and siblings. In the family setting, between a sibling and a fellow sibling, or between a friend and another friend. Companionate love, that is the love between companions. And then we have fatuous love, which is the love that is characterized by high passion and commitment, but low intimacy. And the last but not the least is consummate love, which is actually the highest form of love. And it has all 3 elements of love, It has high levels of passion, high levels of intimacy, and then high level of commitment. So, consummate love is the love that has high levels of all three elements. It encompasses the three elements of love, which are intimacy, passion, and commitment. So you see that love actually has different forms, and its elements now determine the kind of relationship, or rather, how the love is expressed now determines the kind of relationship. So it works interchangeably. The expression, the way the love is expressed, will determine how the relationship flows, and then the kind of relationship will also determine the kind of expressions, the kind of love expressions that will be present in that relationship. Now, I know I've been saying love expressions, love expressions, love expressions, and you might tend to ask, what are love expressions? I've earlier explained this, but then just to bring it down to a language that is more common to us, you can as well call love expressions love languages. But calling it love languages or calling it love language, the term love language was first of all used by the psychologist Dr. Gary Chapman. He is the author of the book The 5 Love Languages. So having seen the different elements of love and how they interact to form different types of love, which then determines different types of relationship and how people interact or how people in it interact, or the dynamics of the relationship. So basically, the way these elements of love, which I have outlined, the way they interact, which is passion, commitment, and intimacy, the way they interact amongst themselves will now determine the kind of relationship and the dynamics of the relationship. That is, they will determine the expressions that are appropriate to that particular kind of relationship. According to Gary Chapman, he says we have 5 love languages. You can as well say you have 5 love expressions. So these love expressions, which are love languages, which were coined by him in his book, The 5 Love Languages, are words of affirmation. Words of affirmation, which are spoken expressions or written expressions. So words of affirmation expressing love through spoken or written words, which could be words of appreciation, words of endearment, words of encouragement, and words of reassurance. So when someone says he or she needs, or someone is being reassured, or when someone gives another person encouragement, when someone's words basically, or someone's writings, because it's not just only through speaking that one could give words of affirmation, it could be through speaking or through writing, as in writing on notes or whatever, through text. Now we have with the internet and social media and all, you can write, you can speak. So words of affirmation are those expressions that are either verbal or written, which are intended to appreciate, to show endearment, to give encouragement, and to give reassurance. So the second is quality time. When two persons who are in a relationship spend time together with undivided attention. Now, spending time together can just be anything. It could be going for an event together, it could be reading a book together, it could be seeing a movie together, it could be going on a walk together, whatever it is. But what makes that time a quality time is that the two persons in the relationship focus on no other thing but themselves, or the object or the element that brought them together to spend that time together. Let's say they are seeing a movie. Yes, so they are focusing on the movie and on themselves. So that is what makes the time quality time, because two persons could be in the same space, could be having the same activity, but they are not in any way connected to each other. The third love expression or love language is acts of service, which is performing different acts to help encourage the other person. It could be performing helpful actions or taking care of tasks for the person, or actually performing an action for the person, like doing something for the person. There is a wide range of actions. I don't want to give a long list, but basically doing something helpful for the other person, doing something helpful to help the other person, to encourage the other person, and to make the other person feel loved. Then we have giving of gifts, giving of thoughtful gifts that show love and affection. So when you know that your partner or your brother or your sister or your father or your mother or whoever it is or your friend loves this particular thing or would appreciate this particular thing, you giving that to the person is a show of love, is an expression of love. It could be giving, it could be receiving, because it's one thing to give, it's another thing to receive. If a gift is given, a gift could be rejected, but what shows that yes, the love is mutual is that the gift was given and the gift was received. And then the last on the list of love expressions is physical touch, which actually entails expressing love through physical affection. Physical affection could include hugs, holding of hands, kissing, and even sexual activities. Now, these 5 expressions, these 5 modes of expression, just basically categorize the different ways through which one could show love. It could be through affirmative words. It could be through spending time with your loved one. It could be through acts of service, doing an act of service to your loved one. It could be giving the person gifts. It could be or giving or receiving gifts. Yeah, it could also be physical touch, showing of love through physical touch. Now we've looked at the different ways of expressing love. Now we're going to look at how there can be a key to a lasting love relationship. One will ask, how will understanding love expressions, how will understanding love languages yield a lasting relationship? Because the way this can be is we are all unique beings. We are all created uniquely by God. Everybody with his or her own distinct behaviors, everyone with his own distinct ways of showing and receiving love. So the way at which someone or the way in which someone shows love or the way in which someone wants to be loved, that is what is called person's love language. So for instance, if someone loves spending quality time with his partner or with her partner, the person's love language is quality time. If someone loves receiving gifts, then the person's love language is receiving gifts. Now, I don't want to go deep into explaining love languages and all of that, but everybody has a primary love language and has secondary love language. The primary love language is how the person always, most of the time, a greater percentage of the time, wants to be loved in that manner. Why the secondary is maybe once in a while, occasionally, like someone could have words of affirmation as a person's primary love language. Now, when the person's primary love language is words of affection, which means the person always wants to receive words of encouragement, words of affirmation, words of reassurance, and once words of endearment. The person wants you to verbally always tell the person, okay, you matter, you mean the world to me, you are beautiful, you look good, and all of that. So the person who has words of affirmation as person's primary love language can have maybe receiving gifts as the person's secondary love language, which means the person actually doesn't need to receive gifts every day, but the person needs to hear words of encouragement every day. The person wants to hear words of endearment, wants you to say, you mean the world to me, I love you, and all of those sweet words to the person. But the person wants, once in a while, you buy a meaningful gift, a thoughtful gift, that will matter to the person and give him or give her. So this is the interplay between different love expressions and how we as human beings show love to one another. So now, having understood what love expressions are and the dynamics of love expressions, the dynamics of love in different relationships, how different elements of love form different kinds of love, and how the different types of love determines the relationship, or how the relationship is determined by the show of love, or the different elements at play, different elements of love at play in that relationship. So having understood that, now the question is, how can understanding this lead to a lasting relationship? Take these love languages as any other language you know in the world. It could be Igbo, it could be Hausa, it could be Yoruba. Now imagine two persons in the same room trying to communicate to each other, and then one person is speaking Yoruba and the other person is speaking Hausa. Clearly, they will not understand themselves because each is speaking what he or she best understands. But let's say you have two persons and two of them are speaking Hausa. You see that there is a connection between the two of them. Two of them flow because there is an understanding. So there will be easy communication, easy expression of love between these two persons. But mind you, this is not about languages. It's about love in a relationship. It's about expression of love in a relationship, not necessarily about the spoken language in quotes. When you have a partner, it all boils down to understanding what works for your partner or what works for you, how you want love to be shown to you, how your partner wants love to be shown to you. Now, this is a tricky one because sometimes we are not vocal about what we want or how we want to be treated or what we like and what we do not like. So, in a subject like this, it's best that the two partners actually come together and discuss about this. Okay, how do you want to be loved? Do you want me to do this or do this or do that? Or you could just ask the question and then allow your partner or whoever it is, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friend, your sibling, could be anybody, because love is not only between couples, it's not only between two partners in a relationship. It could go even broader to friends, it could go broader to even acquaintances, because yes, I give an outline of different types of love that actually exist and the different relationships that could come out based on these different types of love. So when one understands how the other wants to be treated, take for instance, when I understand how my partner wants to be treated, I can now treat my partner in that way. And then, according to Dr. Gary Chapman, he says that we all have our love tanks, kind of. So, the more you express love to your partner, the more your partner's love tank is filled. And then, the more your partner expresses love to you, the more your own tank is filled. So, at each point in time, there should be a flow of love. There should be an expression of love that nobody's tank is empty, because one cannot pour water from an empty cup. One cannot pour water from an empty tank. These love expressions now, when they are best understood and when the individual dynamics are understood, when you know, okay, this is what my partner loves. My partner loves me to say words of encouragement and all of that. Then you can now go continue to say those words of encouragement to your loved one or to your partner. And then your partner might say, okay, might now know that your own love language is quality service. Probably you want him or you want her to do basic house chores, to help you with cleaning, to help you with cooking. And that is how you feel loved, when someone does those things to you. So when we understand the dynamics at play in how love is expressed, and how different individuals on their own individual level love to have love expressed to them, then we can better understand ourselves. There can be that understanding, that knowledge that yes, this is how my partner wants to be loved, and we can love the person in that way. Because just like I outlined initially, when two persons are not communicating, maybe this person is speaking Hausa, the other person is speaking Igbo, the two of them cannot come to a common ground because they do not understand themselves. The other person does not understand the other person does not understand the other. So, but when the two of them have a common denominator, and note, this is not about languages. When the two of them learn to speak each other's language, this person knows that, okay, this is how my partner wants to love, or this is how my partner wants to be loved, and this is how I want to love. So now, I can now express love to my partner, and my partner can in turn express love to me based on how I want to be loved. And in doing that, the relationship will be fulfilled because each partner will be satisfied in that he or she is getting love the way he or she wants. And at that point, when I am fulfilled in the relationship because I am being loved the way I want to be loved, and my partner is fulfilled because she is loved the way she wants to be loved, then we can now have a lasting relationship because I, on my own part, I am fulfilled, I feel loved. My partner, on her own part, feels loved and feels fulfilled. When this is understood, when this is put into practice, then we can have long-lasting relationships. I want to use this opportunity to thank everyone who contributed to the success of the show, and then to thank you, my dear esteemed listeners, for listening. I still appreciate you, and I'll be ending this episode with this note. There's this popular saying that love is enough. I don't dispute that. Love is enough. But then, what is love without understanding? What is love without the full knowledge of your partner? So, love alone without understanding and without knowledge of one's partner, love without effort is useless. It is empty. Just like it said in St. James later, that faith without work is dead. So as faith needs to be put into action, so also does love need to be put into action. So love is more of an action to be expressed than just word. So if you say to someone, I love you, or someone says to you, I love you, without further actions to show that yes, this love really exists between the two of you, or this person actually feels this way towards you, then that is not love. For love to blossom, there should be understanding, there should be knowledge, and then there should be effort. As I end this episode today, I encourage you, wonderful listeners, to keep on being in love. And then, wherever you are, remember to spread love abroad. On this note, I'll say bye-bye until I come your way, same time next week. I remain your anchor, host, and producer of the L.I.F.E Finding Me podcast, Anthony Abel. Until I come your way again, do have a wonderful time and remain blessed. This is L.I.F.E Finding Me, the podcast where faith meets vulnerability and purpose is uncovered one story at a time. This isn't just about spirituality. It's about navigating life and its different phases with faith, with honesty, and with hope. Hosted by engineer, artist, and storyteller Anthony Abel, L.I.F.E Finding Me dives deeper into the questions and moments that shape us. From soul-stirring spoken word to raw reflections on trust, patience, love, and growth. This podcast is your weekly reminder that you are not alone on this journey. So whether you are healing, building, or just trying to make sense of it all, tune in, lean in, and let's find life together. Life Finding Me, available now on Radio Maria 90.1 FM Kaduna, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Anchor FM, Pocket Cast, Castbox, and everywhere you listen to your podcast. Do subscribe and let's find life together.